Hi, I'm Shaktiprem. I spent my time between Australia and Italy, exploring new places, meeting new people, and holding yoga retreats in the beautiful Tuscan hills. Join me as I share my adventures with you.
Good morning. Today we're off to Lucardo, which is in the area of Montespertoli, to visit my friend Catherine, who lives there in a tower-like place in a borgo. So this is just part of a little hamlet, so to speak. You can look up Borgo. It's really something interesting. It's a medieval place that her father-in-law had restored. I think we'll hear more about the story, but now that you're watching it, it's just come up on the market. She's ready to move on and it is for sale. So let's have a look at this beautiful place and let's drive out there.
Finally, I made it up to Lucardo Alto, one of the highest point in this region, as you told me this before. I reflected back on the way and told my friend in the car how we got to know each other. It all happened at New Year's dinner in Katia Corsini's house, where I met you. When you told me you're living in a tower, and I'm always thinking, oh, this is a tower like Rapunzel or something. And finally, we made it here to visit you. So how did your story start here? How come that you ended up here as an American lady who has had a fulfilling life in America, I suppose? And how come that you're here?
My family has been here for 20 years. They bought this house after the former owner passed away, and my family member decided to restore the home to its original glory because it had been quite run down. The room we're sitting in right now is where the cows used to come in. And we call it now the cantina, and it's a wonderful sitting room, and we use the fire in the winter. It's cozy and warm. But it also looks out onto the hills and San Gimignano, the towers of San Gimignano, which most people, both Italians and Americans, if they come to this region, they've seen the towers. But they came here and started a project which took 7 years, and they worked with the authorities because this Borgo, this medieval Borgo, is one of the most historic places in this comune of Montespertoli, and that is the largest comune south of Florence. The Borgo itself is Etruscan, has Etruscan foundations, and then in pre-medieval times it was established as a settlement and given to the man Lucardo in around 1100, who created this walled town. We call it a Borgo here, and there's about 10 families that live here now. I ended up here because my father-in-law was one of those 10 families. And in 2007, he finished restoring this tower. This home is 4 stories tall. It has commanding views of the countryside and 3 bedrooms. I ended up inheriting the home from him somewhat recently when he passed. And during COVID, I had thought, like many people did, that took some reflection on their life. And I thought, you know, it's time to live a dream that I had, because our life is now, it's not tomorrow, it's not yesterday, it's now. And so I applied for a visa and received it and moved over for 9 months from America as kind of a test to see if I would really like it. Of course, I loved it. And I went home and sold all my worldly possessions, including my house and my car and all the things I'd lovingly collected for my adult years. I'm retired. My 3 children are grown and flown, as we say. I encouraged them, where they were born in Michigan, to see the world. I used to tell them the world does not look like Ada, Michigan, where we were from. And they all went and saw the world, and they never came back because they didn't realize there was other parts of the world they liked more. So I was living alone in Michigan. It was kind of an easy decision to transfer here. And so I'm here because this family member chose this spot on a bike ride. He was a big biker, and he was down in a cafe in a very cute place near here called Sambuca. And at the coffee bar, he met another biker, a bicycler. This is not electric bikes. And you know, we are at about 450 meters here, so it's a huge road all the way up. And they biked up here one day, and he saw the sign in the window, Vendici, and he's like, that's going to be my dream home.
Wow. And now you're living his dream.
And now I'm living his dream, right. And creating my own dream at the same time. Right. Which is an interesting thing too, because as you do live kind of someone else's dream, I've had a lot of people say to me, oh, you're living in Tuscany? You're living my dream. And it's a very interesting statement.
Yeah. No, just because you explained before that that your father-in-law wanted to really live here more, and then he couldn't really fulfill his dream to the completion, let's say, because of health issues. So
right.
So in that sense, of course, you know, it's great you stepping in, and of course you create your own dream. But
I have a very interesting sidebar about that. Yes. He had memory problems, as you know. He came down with Alzheimer's, and at the very end of his life, about a year ago, he could not put words together in English. He could nod and say yes, and he would say, oh, it's you, but he couldn't say my name. And I had just an idea one day, and I spoke to him in Italian, and he let out a full, complete sentence in Italian. So he reached back to his time here that was in his memory and in his heart, and communicated to me. And he was even surprised, and I was surprised at it. But for a moment there, it came back to him. And you know, he had not even remembered that he had an Italian house for about 4 years. So it's interesting how these cultural exchanges and this place, when you move to another country, you learn different languages, how it seats inside of yourself.
The connections you make, wonderful. And it's not far away from Florence, but it is out, it seems like it's out, you know, out in its own little world, but it's very amazing. Well, I think I look forward to going through with you from the art outside, going through to see this Borgo and to see all the different levels.
Yes, we call the home here Tuscan Lucardo. It has its own website at tuscanlucardo.com, and it shows. We have had for years some pictures there of really the hillside in the different seasons, because as you know, when you came up the road from Fornicetta to Lucardo Alto, you saw all the beautiful ginestra, which this year, because of our rain, has been so incredible. The yellow has been so rich, and you know, there's a few little houses, but you get up here to the church of San Martino and Giusto. That also has a great historical value in this region, and there was just a small librino written about that church and translated into English, how it was harbored, helped during the war, and it's an ancient church as well. So there's a story here not only of the castle that sits here, that we call it the Castello, but also the church piazza just below.
Yes.
And then, as you know, we're only 1.5 kilometers down the hill. You get to restaurants and the rest of the world, but up here you do feel like you're living just with the cypress and the birds.
Yeah, for photography or painting, sitting or reading, or what do you say, just living the now. And if you sit here, you just really live the now.
Well, you're also in a place, there's Raymond Flower wrote a book called Chianti, and he was an expert of this region, and he opens his book with a paragraph that when I have guests here, I often read to them, and it says, you know, if Machiavelli, Michelangelo, Leonardo returned to the roots of their childhood, and they came to this region of Tuscany and looked out upon the hill that they lived in when they were a child, they would still recognize the land and the features, because so little has changed. There's been some development, but the ancient places are still there. Lucardo looks the same now as it looked in 1100. So it's really something to think about.
Yeah.
When he came, he said, we needed some really comfortable chairs. And there's a store nearby here where they empty all the old villas, and they put all the old furniture from the old villa in this secondhand place. Well, I found out where it was. It's a huge warehouse. And we went and we found these. And Oliver, my son, said, Mom, we have to have them. And I looked at him like he was crazy, but they have been the best. Chairs, so fun. And that they have a history, like this place has a history, you know?
It's wonderful.
Anyway, let me show you the
Let's
rest.
go upstairs, yes.
This kitchen, I use this for heat and cooking as well, so it's wonderful. It's very Tuscan, the way you cook on this wood stove. You lift these rings out with this.
Yeah, we have them in Germany.
Oh, you do?
The farmhouses. Yep, I have. Yep, they're wonderful.
So, and depending on what size of your pot you need, and so in the winter I cook on this all the time,
Wonderful.
and heat and burn our paper in it. But yeah, I'm doing a little construction in here and building a new cupboard, so things are not exactly the way I always have it.
And then this is the place where I get a coffee later.
This is where you get a coffee later.
Too.
Oh, all the keys. You know, Italians love their keys, huh? And so we have, every house I know has one of those. This wonderful needlepoint was done by a dear friend who visited, and as a thank you gift several years later, we opened this fantastic needlepoint, which is a replica of one of the Gobelin tapestries, which is really kind of fun. But this room is special because it has such a commanding view out to the countryside. Yeah. And these maps, maybe you know, they're of Medici Villa, and I've tried to visit all of them. There are 9 or 14 of them in the originals, but I just went to Villa Petraia, just north of Florence, and you can see the original boards.
Yes.
And they're really fantastic.
Yes.
Trying to make sure I go to each one of them. And again, this Florentine mirror which was made by a craftsman, is typical of this region and also found at this same place where they sell really old furniture from the old villa. So it's really kind of fun.
Oh, I love
So I
it.
mixed these crazy things with my things from India, because I love India. I'll take you upstairs to the bedrooms.
Good. With these mirrors, I always wonder. I always would like to have one for my Australian house, but it doesn't go there, I think.
On the walls of this home, we have photographs of the process of oil and wine, how you make the oil and make the wine.
Mm.
Bedroom 1. I love this room especially because of the great view that I have. Again, I feel like I'm in the place of the ancients when I wake up. Plus I hear mostly just the birds. And here
are the birds.
Here are the birds.
In the next room.
Oh, here are the birds. This room, I'm doing some upholstery today, so I'm going to be upholstering this chair, learning how to upholster, so my files are on the floor. But I use this wonderful room as my office, and it's been painted by a scenic painter who's a neighbor nearby, Daniel Spisa. And he painted it as kind of a refuge for my father-in-law, but we use it as a spare bedroom and place to relax.
And goes well with this, the cover is from India, is it?
The cover is from India, yeah. My friend who knows how to upholster is coming over today, and we're going to be putting the elastic around it and get it to fit properly. So
right.
this room is in a bit of process.
Good.
Upstairs we have the mansata. And living here in a tower, you really get used to the stairs, but also it doubles as great exercise. Don't really need the gym. This is what we call the mansata, or the sottosofitto. It's the
Under the roof?
Under the roof, right, the old attic. And when my father-in-law renovated this house, he took the top 2 floors off and lowered the 3rd floor, so to create this as a full-size room. And this is what he used as his master bedroom, and it's really quite a romantic room on a warm, cold winter night, and complete with its
spa.
Its jacuzzi tub. But it's just a lovely place because you get the breezes off the water.
Big one.
Yep.
Ah, and the view.
And the view from here is fantastic, yeah. Straight out to the towers of San Gimignano. But he really worked hard in working with artisans and craftspeople, metalsmiths to make all the railings, falegname, the woodworkers to make the Tuscan doors and the traditional windows with the darkening shades on the outside. And so he really kept the feeling of the ancient place when he did the renovation, while adding some modern
and
kitchen.
having mosquito screens.
Yeah, they are lovely, but must say when you lift them up, it opens the view so nicely, you know. After you.
Okay.
That's the house.
It's the house, and now we go outside to see the whole Borgo.
We see the Borgo and the Giardino. Just to the right. Beautiful place. The original seal is there, and the decree giving Lucardo Lucardo, the history of Lucardo, and giving it to Lucardo in about 1100, I think the story is. And this whole Borgo is undergoing a reconstruction right now, a renovation, not a reconstruction, but renovation to its original state.
Yeah.
This is the ancient arch. This was built on Etruscan ruins. This was an Etruscan settlement, they know that. Here's the old villa that's in front of you. To your right is what we call a saccheria. It's where they make the oil and the wine. And next to the villa, through that arch, is an old school.
So basically that building with the higher part or just the lower part?
Just the lower part with the arch, and across to here has been purchased by a construction firm in Siena, and they're restructuring the Borgo to its original glory. And it's really fantastic because it has been in this state for about 13 years, so it'll be great to put it back into its original form.
And here in the back there's these other families?
And in the back there's other families that are on different levels, and you have a great panorama point, as we call it, here next to the old well. Lucardo had water through the centuries, but the well dried up around the early 60s. So for 4 years there was no water, and many of the families moved away. But they came back after modern water has been pumped up. But this is the original well, which is here. And
there is something now in there again or not?
no, I don't think so. No, I don't think the water is.
No, it's just that it's a bit of.
No, I think the well is still dry.
Yeah.
But here you have a beautiful
View
again of the Tuscan hills. Sit, study, read, write.
Yeah, this is commonplace, so it's not just not someone's front veranda.
Right. Well, I mean, for many years the family here has used it. So with the change of all the people here, it's going to be a change for everyone, but we have to get used to the changes. It's really something to live in an ancient place like this because, you know, just 2 nights ago we had that beautiful full moon.
Oh, yes.
And when it comes up, you realize, you know, this is exactly what people for 1,000 years have been experiencing here.
Yes.
And I love that aspect of it.
Yes.
I absolutely love that aspect of it. I have a couple of neighbors here in these homes, and you know, we have a really tight, wonderful community of here.
Yeah.
Small but
Yeah.
tight. The old fountain still here. And it's been closed because it had a leak on it.
Oh wow!
And that's
There's an apartment in there already. You said,
Yeah,
right?
there's going to be apartments there. They're not there now, but they're going to be restored.